evening, folks. This is Deb, and I'm back with another America by the Numbers. This is Volume 6, and it's the Fake Elector Scheme edition. So let's talk about what we know today. There were 3 indictments in the fake elector scheme in the state of Wisconsin. Probably the biggest name is Kenneth Chesbrough, who actually was the lead architect for the entire scheme across all of the states where people have now been indicted. We're going to talk about those. We're not done with just Wisconsin. Jim Troupis, a former Dane County judge who was the guy who represented Donald Trump in Wisconsin during the 2020 election, was also indicted, along with Mike Roman, an aide who actually transferred the fake electors paperwork to various parties who were then going to put that into the hands of Mike Pence. So those 3 guys were indicted, but there's a lot of indictments in other states, and it's worth taking a look at those numbers too. In Arizona, 18 people have been indicted, 11 fake electors, and 7 Trump aides. In Georgia, 19 people, including Donald Trump himself. Some, however, have reached plea deal agreements. We don't know what the details are. We won't know until that goes to trial, and that will go to trial no matter what the GOP is telling you. In Michigan, 16 people have been indicted, but there are a number of unindicted co-conspirators to this day, and the belief is that there will be additional indictments. That investigation is ongoing. In Nevada, 6 people have been indicted, all of them fake electors. And then we add the 3 from Wisconsin, the 3 newest ones. So rational people understand that what is going on here is not normal, okay? We had, for the first time in American history, one man whose obsession with power resulted in chaos on January 6, 2021, an attempt to overthrow the US government, to seize power, to take away the will of the American people. That is not normal. It is not every day, and it is not Donald Trump being Donald Trump. It was a direct assault on American democracy. Nothing more and nothing less. So let's talk about how the GOP now wants to defund the Department of Justice over this trial in New York, when actually the Department of Justice had nothing to do with the trial in New York. Alvin Bragg does not work for Merrick Garland. Alvin Bragg has a right to see that the laws of the state of New York are upheld. And that's exactly what he did, just like Letitia James did with the civil trial. So what we have is a political party that is now trying to sully the reputation of the American justice system, just the way they destroyed America's belief in the public health system. And we're going to talk about that coming up probably later this week, because they had Anthony Fauci on the hot seat yesterday. And we're going to talk about a number of lies as they continued this bullshit. But now they are doing the same thing. They had Merrick Garland on the hot seat today. Again, trying to erode America's belief in the justice system. The justice system in this case is working. It is slow. It is slow because Donald Trump is using every method he can to stall things. And he has built a justice system around him just for that purpose while he was president. But he will be tried and he will be held accountable. So let's talk about just a couple of other things here in closing. We have 1 witness and 12 jurors who are now in the crosshairs of the right wing, as it was announced today that Michael Cohen's family was doxxed because he is got a target on his back now that he testified against Donald Trump. And we know that the Donald Trump supporters and zealots out there, the cult members, are dying to get their hands on the names of the jurors so they can harass them as well for doing their job. I would like to mention that one juror got his news from Truth Social. He still was on the jury, and he had no problem joining with the majority to convict Donald Trump, because that's what you do when you are on a jury and you look at the facts presented to you by the prosecution. And I'd also like to close with one other pertinent little piece of information. And it may not seem related, but I'm going to draw a line for you. In the state of Texas, I believe, a 19-year-old is facing 90 days in prison for using the abortion pill. And yet we are out here, the mainstream media, talking about whether or not Donald Trump should serve any time in jail or whether he should get community service or whatever. The thought of Donald Trump doing community service is a fucking joke, quite frankly. Okay, so we have a 19-year-old going to prison for exercising her health care rights, essentially. And we're debating whether or not Donald Trump should serve any time in prison. I don't care if Donald Trump serves 30 days in prison. I believe that the prosecution will ask for jail time, and I believe that they should be given what they want. Michael Cohen served a year in prison. A lot of that time in solitary confinement. He paid his debt to society. He was not the beneficiary of any of this hush money scheme. Donald Trump was. And the notion that he doesn't have to serve jail time because he was the president of the United States is absurd. He's now just Mr. Everyman. He's a weak little fascist who deserves to serve time in prison for what he did. 34 criminal felony counts. It's time for accountability across the board. That's it for tonight. We're going to come back with some more numbers because there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. There's a lot of stuff going on. And we're going to keep doing this until the election because, you know what? As I have said, none of this is normal. You are looking at a GOP that has done absolutely nothing on behalf of the American people. Every endeavor they have taken, whether it is the impeachment of Joe Biden, the persecution of Hunter Biden, the vilification of Anthony Fauci and Merrick Garland, now their threat to defund the DOJ, all of that is being done to benefit one man, and that's Donald Trump. And that is not what this nation is about. This nation is not yet a dictatorship. But if given the opportunity, and if the Republican Party retains power come November, that's exactly what we will have here. And I do not believe that there will be a 2028 election. So the notion that we'll get them the next time around is ridiculous. And just imagine, even if we could, the damage he's going to do over the next 4 years. That's it for tonight. I will talk to you all soon.